What happened next, Billy?
Oh, all right. I'll read more. This was not addressed to Scrooge or to anyone whom he could see, but it was produced an immediate effect, for again Scrooge saw himself. He was older now, a man in the prime of his life. His face is not the harsh and rigid lines of later years, but had begun to wear the signs of care and avarice, and there was an eager, greedy, restless motion in his eye which showed the passion that had taken root. And where the shadow of the growing tree would fall, he was not alone, but sat by the side of a fair young girl in a morning dress, in whose eyes there were tears which sparkled in the light that shone out of the ghost of Christmas past. "It matters little," she said softly. "To you, very little. Another idol had displaced me. And if it can cheer and comfort you in the time to come, as I would have tried to do, I have no just cause to grieve." "What idol had displaced you?" he rejoined. "The golden one. This is the even-handed dealing of the world," he said. "There is nothing on which it is so hard as poverty, and there is nothing it professes to condemn with such severity as the pursuit of wealth." "You fear the world too much," she answered gently. "All the world other Ooh, I apologize for that. "You fear the world too much," she answered gently. "All your other hopes have merged into the hope of being beyond the chance of its sordid reproach. I have seen your nobler aspirations fall off one by one until the master passion gain engrosses you, have I not?" "What then?" he retorted. "Even if I had grown so much wiser, what then? I am not changed towards you." She shook her head. "Am I? Our contract is an old one. It was made when we were both poor and content to be so, until in good season we can improve our worldly fortune by our patient industry. You are changed. When it was made, you were another man." "I was a boy," he said impatiently. "Your own feeling tells you that you are not what you are," she returned. "I am that which he promised, happiness. When we were one in heart, is fraught with misery now that we are two. How often and how keenly have I thought of this? I will not say. It is enough that I've thought of it and can release you. Have I ever sought release? In words, no, never. In what then? In a changed nature, in an altered spirit, in another atmosphere of life, another hope as its great end, in everything that made my love of any worth of value in your sight. If this had never been between us," said the girl, looking mildly but with steadiness upon him, "tell me, would you seek me out and try to win me now?" No." He seemed to yield to the justice of the supposition in spite of himself, but he said with a struggle, "You think not." "I would gladly think otherwise if I could," she answered. "Heaven knows, when I have learned a truth like this, I know how strong and irresistible it must be. But if you were free today, tomorrow, yesterday, I believe that you would choose a dowerless girl, you who in your very confidence with her weigh everything by gain, or choosing her if for a moment you were false enough so that your guiding principle to do so." Do I not know that your repentance and regret would surely follow? I do, and I release you with a full heart for the love of him you once were. He was about to speak, but with her head turned from him, she resumed. You may, the memory of what is past half makes me hope you will have pain in this. A very, very brief time, and you will dismiss the recollection of it gladly as an unprofitable dream from which it happened. Well that you awoke. May you be happy in the life that you have chosen. She left him, and they parted. Spirit, show me no more. Conduct me home. Why you delight and torture me? One shadow more, exclaimed the ghost. No more, cried Scrooge. No more, I don't wish to see it. Show me no more. But the relentless ghost pinioned him in both his arms and forced him to observe what happened next. They were in another scene and place, in a room not very large or handsome, but full of comfort. Near to the winter fire sat a beautiful young girl, so like the last that Scrooge believed. It was the same until he saw her, now a comely matron. I don't know. Sitting opposite her daughter, the noise in the room was perfectly tumultuous, for there were more children there, and Scrooge, in his agitated state of mind, could count their an unlike celebrated herd poem. They were not 40 children conducting themselves like one, but every child was conducting itself like 40. The consequences were uproarious and beyond belief, but no one seemed to care. On the contrary, the mother and daughter laughed heartily and enjoyed it very much. And the latter, soon beginning to mingle in the sports, got pillaged by the young brigands most ruthlessly. What would I not have given to be one of them? Oh, I never could have been so rude. No. I wouldn't for wealth of all this world have crushed that braided hair and torn it down, and for the precious little shoe, I wouldn't have plucked it off. God bless my soul. To save my life as measuring her waist in sport as they did bold young brood, I couldn't have done it. I should have expected my arm to have grown rounded for a punishment, never come straight again, and yet I should have dearly liked, I own, to have touched her lips, to have questioned her that she might have opened them, and to have looked upon the lashes of her downcast eyes and never raised a blush, to let loose waves of hair and an inch of keepsake beyond price. In short, I would have liked, I do confess, to the lightest license of a child, and yet to have been a man enough to know its value. But now a knocking at the door was heard, and such a rush immediately ensued that she, with laughing face and plundered dress, was borne toward it in the center of a flushed and boisterous group, just in time to greet her father, who came home attended by a man who was laden with Christmas toys and presents. Then the shouting of the struggling, the onslaught that was made defenseless porter, the scaling him with chairs for ladders to drive into his pockets, to spoil him out of brown paper parcels, hold on to tied by his cravat, hug him around his neck, pummel his back, and kick his legs in irrepressible affection. The shouts of wonder and delight with which the development of every package received, the terrible announcement that the baby had been taken into the act of putting a doll's frying pan into his mouth, and that was more suspected of having swallowed a fictitious turkey glued on a wooden platter. The immense relief of finding this a false alarm, the joy and gratitude and ecstasy they all indescribable alike. It is enough that by degrees the children and their emotions got out to the parlor, and by one stair at a time up to the top of the house, where they went to bed, and so subsided. Now Scrooge looked on more attentively than ever, and the master of the house, having his daughter leaning fondly on him, sat down with her and her mother at the fireside. And he thought that another creature, quite as graceful as full promise, might have called him father. Has been a springtime and haggard winter in his life. His sight grew very dim indeed. "Belle," said the husband, turning to his wife with a smile, "saw an old friend of yours this afternoon." "Who was it? Guess. How can I? Don't I know?" she added in the same breath, laughing as he laughed. "Mr. Scrooge. Mr. Scrooge it was. I passed his office window, and he was not shut up, and he had a candle in his side, and I could scarcely help seeing him. His partner lies upon the point of death, I hear. There he sat alone, quite alone in the world, I do believe." "Spirit," said Scrooge, with a broken voice, "move me from this place. I told you, these are shadows of the things that have been said by the ghost, that they are what they are. Do not blame me. Remove me," Scrooge said. "I cannot bear it." He turned upon the ghost, seeing that it had looked upon him with a face in which, in some strange way, there were fragments of all the faces it had shown him. Wrestled with it. I guess I don't have to sneeze. "Leave me, take me back, haunt me no more." In the struggle, if that can be called a struggle, in which the ghost, with no visible resistance on his own part, was undisturbed by any effort of its old adversary, Scrooge observed that its light was burning high and bright, dimly connected with its influence over him. He seized the extinguisher cap, and all of a sudden, action pressed down upon its head. The spirit dropped beneath it, and there was an extinguisher covered its whole form. But though Scrooge pressed it down with all his force, he could not hide the light which steamed from under it. In an unbroken flood upon the ground, he was conscious of being exhausted, overcome with an irresistible drowsiness, and further of being in his own bedroom. He gave the cap a parting squeeze, in which his hand relaxed, and had barely time to reel to bed, before he sank into a heavy sleep.